Get your kids out now. Ashley needs the room for her 21st birthday party. My mother-in-law, Barbara, screamed, her face red with rage. I stared at her in disbelief, clutching my phone tighter as I tried to process what she was saying. My children, Emma, 8, and Lucas, 6, huddled together on their bed, their eyes wide with fear. Barbara, it's -2 degrees Fahrenheit outside, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. Where exactly do you expect them to go? Not my problem, Sarah, she sneered. Ashley's friends are coming for her birthday weekend, and they need this space. Your brats can sleep in the garage or whatever. I'm Sarah Matthews, 34, and this nightmare was unfolding in what was supposed to be our temporary safe haven. 3 weeks ago, when our apartment's heating system completely failed during the worst winter storm in decades, Barbara had reluctantly offered to let us stay in her sprawling 5-bedroom house until repairs were completed. My husband, James, was away on a military deployment, and I was struggling to make ends meet with my teacher's salary. These are your grandchildren, I pleaded, watching Emma try to comfort her younger brother. James trusted you to help us while he's deployed. Barbara's laugh was cold and dismissive. James isn't here, is he? And Ashley is my real daughter. She deserves to have her perfect 21st birthday party. I've already promised her friends they can stay in this room. I looked around the small guest room that had become my children's temporary sanctuary. Their few belongings were neatly arranged. Emma's favorite stuffed elephant, Lucas's treasured toy cars, the family photo of us with James that they insisted on keeping by their bedside. The thought of them sleeping in an unheated garage made my blood run cold. Mom? Emma's voice quivered. Where are we going to sleep? Before I could answer, Barbara stormed over to their bed, grabbing their backpacks and starting to shove their belongings inside. Out? Get out now. Ashley's friends will be here in 2 hours, and I need to clean this room. Lucas began to cry, and something inside me snapped. I stepped between Barbara and my children, my voice low and dangerous. Touch their things again, and I'm calling the police. Go ahead, she scoffed. This is my house. I can kick out whoever I want. Besides, who do you think they'll believe? Me, a respected member of the community, or you, a struggling teacher who can't even provide a proper home for her kids? I felt my hands trembling as I reached for my phone again. But this time I wasn't calling the police. Instead, I dialed Helen, James's sister, who lived about an hour away. As the phone rang, Barbara continued her tirade about Ashley's perfect party and how my children were ruining everything. Sarah? Helen's voice was warm and concerned. Is everything okay? No, I admitted, my voice cracking. Your mother is kicking us out. Ashley needs the room for her birthday party. It's below freezing, Helen. The kids? Pack their things, Helen interrupted, her tone shifting from warm to steely. I'm coming to get you. All of you. Barbara must have heard something in my voice change because she paused in her rampage, watching me suspiciously. What are you doing? Solving your problem, I replied calmly, too calmly. We're leaving, but make sure you take lots of pictures of Ashley's perfect party. I'm sure James would love to see them when he gets back. For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty crossed Barbara's face. She hadn't thought about James's reaction, had she? Her golden child Ashley was all that mattered. As I helped Emma and Lucas pack their few belongings, my hands shook with a mixture of rage and fear. The children were silent, moving with the careful precision of kids who've learned to make themselves small and unobtrusive. It broke my heart to see them like this. Mommy, Lucas whispered as I zipped up his backpack, is Daddy going to be mad at us? No, baby, I assured him, pulling him close. None of this is your fault. Daddy loves you both so much. Barbara stood in the doorway, tapping her foot impatiently. Well, are you done yet? Ashley will be here soon, and this room is a mess. I didn't dignify her with a response. Instead, I focused on my children, making sure they were bundled up properly for the freezing weather. Emma held her brother's hand, trying to be brave, but I could see the hurt in her eyes. They'd already lost their home once this winter. Now they were being thrown out of what should have been their safe harbor. The sound of a car pulling into the driveway made Barbara rush to the window. Oh, thank God. Ashley's here. Now you really need to. But it wasn't Ashley. Helen's SUV was parked outside, and James's sister was already storming up the front walk. Her face set in lines of fury I'd never seen before. This was about to get interesting. Through the window, I caught a glimpse of Ashley's car pulling up behind Helen's. Perfect timing. Now everyone would see exactly what kind of mother Barbara really was. As Helen's determined footsteps echoed through the house, I held my children close, knowing that while this chapter was ending badly, the story was far from over. Barbara's voice floated up from downstairs, shrill with fake concern. "Helen, what a surprise. What brings you here on this cold day?" Helen's response was too quiet to hear, but Barbara's sudden silence spoke volumes. The perfect birthday party was about to become something very different indeed. Helen's voice carried up the stairs, sharp as winter ice. "Where are they, Mom? Where are my brother's children?" I guided Emma and Lucas toward the staircase, our bags packed. Ashley stood in the foyer, surrounded by gift bags and decorations, her perfectly made-up face twisted in confusion. "Mom, what's going on? Why is Aunt Helen here?" Barbara wrung her hands, her earlier confidence evaporating. "Helen, darling, you don't understand. Ashley's friends are coming for her birthday celebration, and we needed the space." Space. Helen's laugh was bitter. "You have 5 bedrooms in this house. 5, and you're throwing your own grandchildren out into sub-zero weather for a party." Ashley's eyes widened as she finally understood. "Mom, you said Sarah and the kids were staying with friends. You said they left voluntarily." We reached the bottom of the stairs, and Helen immediately moved to embrace Emma and Lucas. The children clung to her, their small bodies shivering despite the house's warmth. Whether from fear or cold, I couldn't tell. I already video called James, Helen announced, and Barbara's face went pale. "He's trying to get emergency leave." Imagine his surprise when I told him his children were being thrown out of their grandmother's house for a birthday party. "You had no right," Barbara shrieked. "This is between me and Sarah." "No," I said, finding my voice at last. "This is about 2 innocent children who trusted their grandmother to protect them, who looked at you like you hung the moon, Barbara. Until today." Ashley dropped her gift bags, decorations forgotten. "Mom, this is horrible. They're just kids, and it's freezing outside." She turned to me, her face stricken. "Sarah, I swear I didn't know. She told me you found somewhere else to stay." "Of course you didn't know," Helen cut in. "Because if people knew what Mom was really like, her perfect reputation would crumble." Barbara's face twisted with rage. "Get out. All of you. This is my house, and I won't be judged in my own home." "Gladly," Helen replied. "But first," she pulled out her phone and started playing a video. James's voice filled the foyer, and Barbara froze. "Mom, how could you?" His voice was tight with controlled fury. "My children? Your own grandchildren? I trusted you to help them while I'm serving our country, and this is how you repay that trust." "James, sweetheart," Barbara stammered. "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly. Helen, get them out of there. Sarah, take the kids to Helen's place. I'm coming home." Barbara collapsed onto the stairs, her carefully maintained facade cracking. "You can't come home. Your deployment." "Watch me," James's voice was steel. "And Mom, when I get back, we're going to have a long talk about family loyalty." The video ended, and silence fell over the foyer. Ashley was crying quietly, her perfect birthday thoroughly derailed. Emma tugged at my sleeve. "Mommy, is Daddy really coming home?" "Yes, baby, Daddy's coming home." Helen helped us load our bags into her SUV while Barbara watched from the doorway, still protesting weakly about Ashley's party and her reputation. As we pulled out of the driveway, I saw Ashley running after the car. Helen stopped. "Sarah, wait." Ashley called through my window. "I'm so sorry. I never wanted this. Can I come visit the kids at Aunt Helen's? They shouldn't lose their entire family because my mom is a monster," Helen supplied. "Helen," I admonished, but I couldn't help smiling slightly. To Ashley, I said, "The kids would like that. They love their Aunt Ashley." As we drove away, Lucas asked from the backseat, "Mommy, why doesn't Grandma love us?" My heart shattered. Helen caught my eye in the rearview mirror, and I saw tears tracking down her cheeks. "She loves her image more than her family, sweetheart," Helen answered when I couldn't. "But you have so many people who love you more than anything. Your mom, your dad, me, and even Aunt Ashley. We're your real family." Emma hugged her brother close, And we have sergeant trunks, she added, clutching her stuffed elephant. The drive to Helen's house was quiet, broken only by the children's occasional whispers and the steady hum of the heating system working overtime. My phone kept buzzing with messages from Barbara, ranging from angry demands to tearful apologies. I ignored them all. Helen's house wasn't as large as Barbara's, but it was warm in every way that mattered. As she helped us settle into her guest room, one she promised we could stay in as long as we needed, she showed me another message from James. Emergency leave approved. I'll be home in 72 hours. Mom just lost more than she knows. I love you all. Keep our babies safe. Looking at my children, already starting to relax in the safety of Helen's home, I knew Barbara had indeed lost more than she realized. She'd lost her son's respect, her grandchildren's trust, and any claim to being the perfect mother she pretended to be. Her perfect reputation wouldn't survive this winter storm. 3 days later, James arrived at Helen's house looking exhausted but determined. The moment he walked through the door, Emma and Lucas launched themselves into his arms, their tears of joy mixing with his own. "Daddy, you really came home." "Of course I did, Princess," he murmured into Emma's hair. "Nobody messes with my family." I hung back, letting the children have their moment, but James reached for me with his free arm, pulling me into the family embrace. For the first time since this nightmare began, I felt truly safe. After the children were asleep that night, tucked into bed with extra blankets and their father's promise to be there when they woke, James, Helen, and I sat in the kitchen. Ashley had arrived earlier, bringing hot chocolate and tearful apologies. She'd been staying with friends, unable to face her mother after what happened. "Mom's losing it," Ashley reported, cradling her mug. "She's called everyone in her social circle, trying to spin the story her way." But Helen's video reached them first. James nodded grimly. "Good. Let her feel what it's like to be left out in the cold." "The heating in our apartment is fixed," I told him quietly. "We can go home tomorrow." "No," his voice was firm. "We're not going back to that apartment. I've already called a realtor. We're buying a house somewhere far from my mother's influence." "But James, we can't afford." "Yes, we can." He pulled out some papers. "Remember that inheritance from Dad's side of the family? The one Mom always said was too small to bother with? Well, I had it checked. She lied about that too. There's enough for a down payment and then some." Helen wasn't surprised. She's been lying about money for years, keeping everyone dependent on her so she could control us all. A knock at the door interrupted us. Through the window, we could see Barbara standing on the porch, wearing her finest coat and a look of practiced contrition. "Don't answer it," Ashley pleaded. "She'll just make everything worse." But James was already moving. He opened the door but didn't invite her in. "What do you want, Mom?" "James, darling," Barbara's voice dripped with honey. "I've come to take you all home. This silly misunderstanding has gone on long enough. What will people think?" "Misunderstanding?" James's voice was deadly quiet. "You threw my children out into freezing weather for a party. I never would have really made them sleep in the garage." Barbara protested. "I just needed them out of the room for Ashley's friends." "Stop lying, Mom," Ashley called from behind us. "You've done enough damage." Barbara's face hardened when she saw her daughter. "Ashley, how dare you take their side? After everything I've done for you." "You mean after everything you've stolen from them to give to me?" Ashley shot back. "Helen told me about James's inheritance, about how you've been lying to all of us for years. I did what I had to do to keep this family together." "No," James cut in. "You did what you had to do to keep control. But that ends now." He pulled out his phone, showing her the screen. "See these bank statements, the trust fund documents? Your lies are exposed, Mom. All of them." Barbara swayed slightly, her perfect mask cracking. "You can't prove anything." "Actually, we can." Helen appeared with a thick folder. "I've been documenting your financial manipulation for years. The only reason I stayed quiet was for James's sake. But when you put his children at risk, all bets were off." "What do you want?" Barbara whispered, finally realizing the depth of her situation. "Nothing," James replied. "We want nothing from you. Not your money, not your big house, not your manipulative version of love. We're done." But they're my grandchildren." "Not anymore," I spoke up, stepping forward. "You lost that privilege when you chose a party over their safety." Barbara turned to Ashley, her last hope. "Darling, please." Goodbye, Mom. Ashley's voice shook but held firm. I'm staying with Helen until I find my own place. Away from you. James closed the door on Barbara's shocked face. Through the window, we watched her stumble back to her car, her world crumbling around her. Later that night, as James and I checked on the children one last time, Emma stirred in her sleep. Is Grandma still mad at us? She mumbled. No, sweetheart, James soothed, stroking her hair. Grandma's not part of our lives anymore. But you have so many people who love you. Aunt Helen, Aunt Ashley, Mommy, and me. And Sergeant Trunks, Emma added sleepily, clutching her elephant. And Sergeant Trunks, James agreed, smiling through his tears. As we closed their door, I leaned into my husband's embrace. Are you sure about cutting her off completely? She made her choice, he said firmly. She chose her image over her family. Now she can live with the consequences. Outside, snow began to fall again, but inside Helen's house, we were warm with the love of real family, the kind that protects each other, that chooses children over parties, that stands together against the cold. Barbara's perfect reputation lay in ruins, but our family had emerged stronger. Sometimes, I reflected, the worst storms bring the greatest clarity about what truly matters.